All right, we're here with Murray Langham. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
So, you do Chocology.
Yeah,
all
that's the one.
So, for people who don't know, what exactly is that?
Okay, it's basically your personality through what chocolate you like. So if someone gives you a box of chocolates, what's the first one you'd take? Or do you stamp your feet when someone has taken the one that you want? And that's talking about your personality. So if you always take the same flavour, what does it say about you?
I see. Interesting.
So, I've got your book here, Chocolate Therapy. Yeah. So, Luke and I, we actually did try it. We're not in a relationship, but we're in a friendship. Does it? And
bromance, you know.
Yeah, bromance. Yeah.
Does it work for friendships as well, or is it just relationships?
That book is all on relationships. The first book I had was just on the personalities through the different flavours. So this one, you can still look at that in relationships of father, mother, friends, brother, sister. You know, it doesn't have to be in a romantic relationship. How do you get on, sort of thing?
Oh, because we didn't do very well.
Yeah, well, thankfully, I actually happened to choose, I think, fudge, and then you chose caramel, I think, didn't you, or something like that? And then we actually read a certain line that compared the two. And thankfully, it said that we will not go on well in a relationship, and that's a good thing.
No, because the fudge person will spend the money, and the caramel will be counting it up, thinking more stress, because he'll be looking after all the logics of pros and cons, and the other person's spending.
Oh, that's peculiar, because that's actually quite the contrast. In that case, I would be more the caramel person, and he would be more the fudge person. But interesting proposition. It is a good idea.
It does work on when you're doing the therapy. It's fun just doing the one chocolate, the one that you always take. But when I do a reading, it's like the four chocolates. So one can be sort of dominant, but the next one could modify it.
Okay, interesting stuff. Yeah, it is quite remarkable though how it absolutely makes sense between our friendship. What those two chocolates, caramel and fudge, contain. There, it is interesting stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so it just came about because I've done counselling for 10 years, and people came to me about chocolate issues and weight issues, that sort of thing. And my philosophy on that is, if you drop the guilt, you drop the weight. If you're going to eat something, really enjoy it. If you're going to have some chocolate cake, enjoy it. Have every bite, ecstasy, if you like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't worry about it. Tomorrow, you can always modify tomorrow. You can always say, oh, look, I had all that chocolate cake yesterday. I'll just go easy tomorrow. Just know your plimsoll line, or the line in the ship that there. Just balance.
Don't be too strict. Yeah, like Novak Djokovic and the tennis players that keep away from the chocolate.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we're not them.
Now, you also make chocolate. You've got Shock chocolate.
Yeah.
So, what are the best flavours of chocolate that you guys do there?
Lime chili is still the one we make 4 times more than anything else. Other chocolate companies have tried to copy it, but we get like 4 boxes of limes in, or lemons in, and 4 to 14 depending on what the price is. They all have to be peeled, sliced and dried, so we do everything with fresh fruit, which we have to then manufacture. So it's labour intensive, but we get that result.
Oh wow, does sound very impressive. Often either as a chef or as a chocolate maker or any kind of food maker, you often have the what's the word I'm looking for? You often have the responsibility of testing samples and stuff, making sure it's perfect. Do you ever have a lot of samples, and then perhaps is it difficult for perhaps you or other staff to make sure that they don't eat too much samples? Because
eat lots.
Because Gordon Ramsay is quite easy to put on weight, and that's why he always does those marathons and stuff. Is it difficult?
Good chocolate is good for you. Most of our staff lose weight when they work for us. I'm not saying that I do, but we don't limit. Because our chocolate's not too sweet, it's when it's got so much sugar in that you feel a bit bloated and you don't want any more. But because our chocolate is not like that, you can eat more.
Okay, so would sort of an example be perhaps like a very milky dairy milk chocolate, and perhaps a good chocolate would be a sort of dark kind of chocolate?
Well, the illusion is that dark chocolate is good for you, right? When you look at milk chocolate, that's got vitamins and minerals in it, so that's got more goodness for you, but it's got extra sugar. So one counteracts the other. So the darker the chocolate, the less sugar. But really, when you look at it, I mean, I can say straight away that what we sell between 70 and 100% is small compared to what we sell at our. Most of our flavours are at 55 or milk chocolate.
Oh, okay.
We do more dark chocolate than milk, put it that way.
Oh,
But
okay.
people like the nice feel. They don't. Or dark chocolate, when you start to look at 85% and that, it's more of like a connoisseur, and you'd have a small tablet, a small square, and eat it. But that's all you'd want. Whereas, you get. I call it palate fatigue. You want a bit more sugar in there.
Oh, okay, interesting stuff. So I imagine it would be, given that it's a sort of very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very pure kind of chocolate. It doesn't have all those too much manufactured things
no.
like sugar. I imagine it would be slightly expensive than usual, but I'm guessing it's one of those great treats that our customers really adore, and perhaps you get a lot of tourists as well.
We do in Greytown, because our shop's in Greytown, so it's a tourist place, or it's Wellington's playground really in the Wairarapa, so everyone has their second homes there and taste the wine, that sort of thing, play golf. So in that way we're quite suited, but we do have a shop in Wellington, and we are in Nosh in Auckland, and Smith and Cowie down the road here. And
my mum shops there at Nosh sometimes, yeah.
and the Central Deli in Mount Eden Road's always stocked our chocolate. But it's more of a fact that people like our chocolate, and I don't want to be everywhere, because I want people who sell it to understand and know it, rather than just be a collection of 100 different companies. With it there just left there. I want someone to talk about it, because they really enjoy selling our chocolate, and people come back time and time again. Like our white chocolate is made in Singapore, and that's made with New Zealand milk product and Australian cane sugar, and then we use lemons, and lemons come from Hawke's Bay. But that's creamier and better for you than the white chocolate I can get from Belgium, and it's fresher. So things like that, it's all sort of playing around with what suits the palate and what we like to taste. We do what's another one? Carrot and coriander chocolate. Okay. And that's because I like carrot and coriander soup. So how can we do that in a chocolate? And we grate the carrots and dry them and add them to the chocolate, and you get little bits of texture there, and they little sweet bursts, because carrot goes quite sweet when you dry it.
That sounds like quite the recipe. You do have quite an ability to make my mouth water. You do that. That's very insightful stuff. Yeah.
What's like the weirdest thing you've put in chocolate that's actually made it taste better? Like
I'll tell you. We do a sweet basil chocolate, right? Which I don't like. I hate it. It's almost like a Thai basil, so it's quite aniseedy, and I'm not really into the aniseed. But we put sun-dried tomato with it, so we've got basil and tomato, and I thought it was revolting, so we've never done it again. Okay. But other people liked it, but I thought if I do try it again, I'd sort of do less tomato or something. Yeah. But if you take 100% chocolate for a start, it's very savoury. So if your mindset, and my mindset is chocolate is savoury, so how can you add other flavours to it? That, apricot and rosemary is another one we do, and that was stuffing a chicken one night with apricot and rosemary stuffing, and I thought, I wonder how that would go in a chocolate. And that's one of the favourite ones that I have. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So why do you think people connect so much with chocolate?
It's the phenylethylamine in it, which is the one that makes you feel good. The only problem is it doesn't last that long, so you need another piece and another piece. It's like falling in love or falling in love, or you fall out of love, so you have some chocolate to get that feel-good factor again. And it's luxurious. It's a treat. It is expensive because of the cocoa butter. We had all this carry-on about the palm oil and all that sort of thing. Cocoa butter is sold as a commodity in the world market, and it's expensive. And that's used for face creams, lipsticks, and moisturisers and all that sort of thing. So that's why chocolate is expensive, but there is a limited supply, because the chocolate grows under the canopy of the rainforest. The rainforest goes, the chocolate will go. There are some hybrid trees that grow without the rainforest, but the beans are bitter, and so they have to mix them with the good beans to get the right flavours.
Oh, I see. So in a lot of ways, it is kind of a reminder back in to like the earlier 20th century, when there was a time when like chocolate was one of those very rare and exclusive things that was only for the rich, and then of course as time went by, it eventually became a sort of world market mass produced thing, of course, like like a cars, of course, that was the American dream. So this is sort of a reminder. It sort of brings back that greater speciality of chocolate, makes it more special in a way.
See, if we all, I don't know how it is, but when I was growing up, we used to have those rice bubble things in chocolate, and little little cake things, and they're quite fatty. It's cremelta they used to melt the chocolate with, and they were quite. You get that fatty taste in your mouth.
So rice bubbles, you mean like the sort of rice crackers that you have in your cereal or something?
Yeah, but they used to make them with those little, what do you call them? Things you have muffins in, your little paper things you put muffins in. They used to put a whole lot of rice bubbles in that, but it's all coated in chocolate, but it's usually with cremelta. And you can taste the fatty stuff on your mouth afterwards. See, the cocoa butter, why cocoa butter is so good for you, it also has stearic acids like olive oil, red wine, and it helps balance your cholesterol. And it also melts a degree under your body temperature. So that's why when you eat chocolate or you hold it, it'll start to melt. So when it's in your mouth, it feels smooth and it starts to melt. And it's the cocoa butter that does that, and it has a lot of the good qualities in it.
Oh, wow. Interesting stuff.
Very interesting. So if people want to find out more about you and the chocolate and chocolate therapy, where do they go?
Well, they can go to shock.co.nz on the website. Chocology, we've got an app for that now, which is on your phone or your app phone, both phones, iTunes and Google Play, and it's called Chocology, and that gives you the fun parts of chocolate, which is what I like this whole therapy business, because it looks at ourselves in a fun way, and it's the personalities, and sometimes we need to laugh at ourselves a bit more, not take ourselves so seriously.
Yeah.
I'm just having a look at it right now. I've actually got the app open. So how do you spell it? C-H-O-C-ology?
Yeah.
Okay. Ology. See if I can find it.
Riveting radio.
All right. oh yeah, here it is. The one and only Chocology by
$1.29.
Is that? Oh, that's how much it is. Okay.
Technologies. I think I have $1.29. I think I might only have 89 cents because last time that I called, but the next time I top up, I will absolutely get that. That sounds absolutely.
So it's just a fun way of looking at ourselves and enjoying, and also it's taken, like, we're in 7 languages around the world with that, so I get invited to different chocolate festivals and things to talk about it, and it's just really a good fun thing of chocolate. Enjoy chocolate.
Okay. Now I imagine a lot of these chocolates, given that they are expensive, they would be perhaps in some ways relatively complicated perhaps to make. Would it be possible for just general people to be able to produce that kind of exotic chocolate at home perhaps? Or
Yeah, they can. With the internet now they could sort of learn, but it's quite difficult because if you have this is why they put the palm oil or vegetable fat in there, because you just heat the chocolate, melt it, and put it into a mould and it will pop out. But you get that fatty taste because the cocoa butter is the problem. So just imagine you had a couple of kilos of chocolate melting at 44 degrees.
Yeah.
You have to tip 2/3 of it out onto a marble or granite top and wave it round, if you like, moving it round to cool it down to 27 degrees. Then you put that back with what you haven't poured out to get it back up to 31 degrees without lumps, and then it's tempered. It's like tempering steel. It's the same thing. So we all learnt at school or whatever, how you temper things. So the chocolate needs to have 3 different temperatures. It's 27, 31 and 44 to mix it to be right, and then it will contract out of the mould. Otherwise, if it's not tempered right, you get all that white bloom, there'll happen streaks on it, and it won't contract, so you've got it stuck in your mould.
Oh, okay, a lot of attention.
So it just needs, once you get the hang of it, it's no problem. Or you can do it another way, is in the microwave, very, very carefully, like, say, 2 handfuls of chopped up chocolate, roughly the same size, and 30 seconds, 3 times, stir it in between, and then another handful you put in and just keep stirring it, not in the microwave, and that should come out tempered.
Oh,
so that's sort of a quick way to do it if you only want a little amount, like 2 handfuls and a 3rd handful after but you've got to be careful with microwaves because it can burn the chocolate really easy. So only 30 seconds.
Maybe like a turbo defrost or a sensor sort of frozen reheat, the sort of softer foods.
Yeah. And once you get the lumps out of it, when you put the 3rd handful in, you don't put it back in the microwave. Just keep stirring until it's all melted, and that should be the right temperature.
Oh, absolutely. I'll have to try.
So that's an easy way to do it, but it's tricky if you don't know how.
It's certainly making me hungry. I really want some chocolate now.
Yeah.
Oh, and I didn't bring any with me.
Making you peckish, yeah. Yeah. Well, he actually went to a chocolate festival on Saturday or Sunday, was it?
Yeah, Saturday.
That's where I was.
Oh,
yes,
I've forgotten about that. Yes, my bad. Yes. And
You're
despite
bad.
after all that chocolate, it's still fresh in his mind. He's still
Yeah.
And
chops after that.
when I went to your booth, the one that I really liked was the sea salt chocolate. That was definitely
Yeah,
delicious.
that's really interesting. When we first did the sea salt, people were spitting it out in the shop because you don't put salt with chocolate. But we've been going 15 years now, so now we don't get that reaction. So people's taste palettes have changed.
Yeah, it's probably like the salted caramel thing, because actually at Hal's Pizza, where I work, they actually do gelatos there in tubs, and one of the most popular, of course, was the salted caramel. So there obviously is something about the salted caramel which is really revolutionised right now.
Did you try the fennel? The fennel. We had about 12 different flavours there. We didn't bring them all because we've got 80 flavours, so 12 was all we brought up.
Can't remember which other ones I tasted, but I do remember the salted.
Yeah, well, that's the one that you like then.
Yeah.
It stands out, you see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't actually tried it yet, but it must be popular, and I like that. I do like rich chocolate flavours. Yeah.
We'll head to Nosh and buy some.
Yeah. Well, I'll be able to, but as soon as you have sorted out your desire to stop buying all this stuff for a look through the collection, props and stuff, you will absolutely be able to buy chocolate. Yeah.
I still have enough to buy chocolate. How much is your chocolate? It's not too expensive, eh?
On average, the average
well,
price.
it's about $12.50 a tablet. $12.50, $13, depending on where it is. Some places sell it for $15.
So what's the unit measure of a tablet?
75 grams.
Oh, okay.
So we're not exactly cheap.
I know.
But you've got to look at what we do everything by hand. Therefore, we don't have machines. We don't have conveyor belts. So we might be turning out 500. Luckily, if we get 700 tablets a day, we get 3 people to do that. You've got to pay them as well. So we can't. We're a boutique, tiny studio, basically.
But it does make it a great treat, though. I mean, it's not the kind of thing that you want to have every day and stuff. Otherwise, it doesn't make it quite an occasion and stuff. There is quite an element of exclusivity when you do that kind of thing. Yeah. I like the sound of it, yeah.
All right, well, thanks for your time.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, thanks heaps.
Okay, cheers.
Yeah, anytime.
Tyler and Luke.
Woohoo!